In this video, I would like to share my views on the Bride of Christ. When I look at Revelation chapters 2 and 3, there are a lot of warnings and Jesus telling the church to repent and to overcome and to keep their garments clean and to keep the works that they're doing that are good, to hold that fast. With every church that is mentioned in those two chapters, you have the overcomer being rewarded. That tells me that not the whole church is going to be singled out as the bride, only the overcomers, because I believe all of those promises promised in these two chapters are obtained or can be obtained in heaven. I have reason to believe that the bride of Christ is the 144,000. We can look at the traits of the 144,000. We read about them for the first time in the book of Revelation, in chapter 7. In chapter 7, it states that, and I saw another angel ascending from the east, having the seal of the living God, and he cried with a loud voice to the four angels to whom it was given to hurt the earth and the sea, saying, hurt not the earth, neither the sea, nor the trees, until we have sealed the servants of our God in their foreheads. And I heard the number of them which were sealed, and there were sealed 144,000 of the tribes of the children of Israel. If we look closely to these verses, you see that there is an angel coming from the east, and it has a seal of the living God. And he tells the four angels to whom it was given to hurt the earth and the sea, saying, hurt not the earth, neither the sea, nor the trees, until we have sealed the servants of our God in their foreheads. And when we see the judgments, the trumpets, and the vials, we see that the first judgment is cast upon the earth, and a third part of trees was burnt up, and all green grass was burnt up. And the second judgment is cast upon the sea, and a third part of the sea became blood. That is exactly what this angel is saying. Hurt not the trees, hurt not the sea. That tells me these are the two first judgments. And as I have stated before, I believe the seals, the trumpets, and the vials are pretty much the same judgment, I believe, looked at from different perspectives, and I think they really are connected to one another. And for that you can see my video of the judgments chart, the seals, the trumpets, and the vials. So they are to be sealed before the judgments start, before the tribulation starts. That's an indication, and it's really a trait of the bride. And you see the second group in chapter 7 that is mentioned is the multitude no one could count, and that one comes out of the tribulation. That group of people is singled out because of that. That's the trade they are redeemed out of the tribulation, and they appear in heaven. And they've washed their garments in the blood of the Lamb. We can look further to another trade, what the Bible states about the 144,000 in chapter 14 of the book of Revelation also. And it states, and I looked, and lo, a lamb stood on the Mount Zion, and with him 144,000, having his father's name written in their foreheads. That is a reward out of Revelation chapter 3, verse 12. Him that overcometh will I make a pillar in the temple of my God, and he shall go no more out. And I will write upon him the name of my God. That is a reward for the overcomer. So we know that in chapter 14, you read that Jesus appears on the Mount Zion, and with him these 144,000. And I always heard in the church that these 144,000 were left behind. They were left behind when the tribulation started, and here they are, therefore, on earth. But I believe that Jesus appeared on the Mount Zion, and they are with him. They came down with him. They will be helping the people that are left behind. They will be coming back to help, but they have a glorified body. They are here to fight for the people, and protecting the people that are from God who are left behind. You know that a multitude no one could count. There's a large group, a very large group of people who will be waking up or will be converting during the tribulation. I believe the 144,000 here are coming back, and they are not left behind. And their traits are that they have the Father's name written on their foreheads. We know that is a reward for the overcomer. And it states that these are they which were not defiled with women, for they are virgins. I believe it is spiritual state. Defiled by women is also often referred to as idolatry. Virgins are oftentimes referred to as being believers in the one and true God. You have the 10 virgins, these are believers, and 5 are foolish, and 5 of them are wise. So I believe that is the same thing here. And these are they which follow the Lamb, whithersoever he goeth. They are Christians and they are Israelites, but it states not that they are only Jews, because we know that the Jews that are in the land of Israel today are predominantly from the tribes of Judah and Benjamin. So you hear a lot about the lost tribes, but only the Lord knows who they are. And I believe that the Bible states that whoever will overcome will be part of this group. And it's up to God how to fill those groups in, those tribes. But if you obey and overcome, you will be part of this group. It continues to say, these were redeemed from among men, being the first fruits unto God and to the Lamb. And in their mouth was found no guile, for they are without fault before the throne of God. So they were blameless, they were ready, they were overcomers when the Lord came to rapture out people. They were ready. That's why they are called first fruits. And in the times of the gathering of the harvest, the Lord taught Israel to harvest in cycles. And when the first little bit of the harvest was ready, the priest, the high priest, would collect that few that is already ripened, and present him to the Lord by waving it on the in the spring, on the feast of the first fruits, in the month of the Passover. So that is the first harvest, and after that, a few days after or some time after, you the people could harvest the main harvest. That is the larger group, and that, I believe, is the group, the multitude no one could count, and that one will be harvested during the tribulation. But the first fruits are harvested before that, at Passover. And I believe that this group, the bride of Christ, will be ready and accounted worthy, overcoming, when Jesus comes in the clouds to collect people. The Lord will keep the overcomer out of the tribulation. You can read that in Revelation 3 verse 10. Because thou hast kept the word of my patience, I also will keep thee from the hour of temptation, which shall come upon all the world, to try them that dwell upon the earth. That's the tribulation. And in chapter 12 you see that there is a man-child, there is a woman, and this woman gives birth to a man-child, and the man-child is taken up out of, it's just taken up. And there is a clue onto who this man-child is, because it states in Revelation 12 verse 5, and she brought forth a man-child who was to rule all nations with a rod of iron, and her child was caught up unto God and to his throne. And where do we see in this book, in the book of Revelation, the trait that he was, the man-child was to rule all nations with a rod of iron? That is, you can trace that back to Revelation 2 verse 26 and 28, and it states, and he that overcometh and keepeth my works unto the end, to him will I give power over the nations, and he shall rule them with a rod of iron. As the vessels of a potter shall they be broken to shivers, even as I received of my Father, and I will give him the morning star. So Jesus states here that he that overcomes will, as he was given the same thing, he will give the same thing to the overcomer, that they might rule the nations with a rod of iron. And that is a trait of this man-child. So therefore I believe the man-child is the bride, and the bride is the 144,000